Virgo, the day of your birth reveals your spiritual mission here on Earth. You've always heard that your nature is to be methodical, critical, perhaps even a little obsessed with details. Your whole life you've been told you were born to organize chaos, to be the anchor of sanity in other people's lives. But what if I told you that all this so-called personality is just a defense mechanism, a shield designed to hide something much vaster? The truth no one tells you is that the exact day of your birth reveals an invisible mechanism, a spiritual mission here on Earth that you've been carrying out in the dark since the first moment you opened your eyes. You're not just an Earth sign, you're a cosmic filter. You absorb the world's disorder and try to return it in the form of harmony. And today, we're going to expose the wound, the mystery, and the glory of each of these dates. By the end of this video, the inexplicable weight you carry on your shoulders will finally make sense in a way it never has before. It all begins on the threshold of fire and earth on August 23rd. If you were born on this date, your spiritual mission is that of materialization. You carry the residual spark of creation and have the burden of giving it a form that the human world can use. You cannot stand ideas that do not transform into matter. On August 24th and 25th, the mission changes slightly. Those born on these dates act as a silent translator. Your soul has the ability to enter chaotic environments and, without saying a single word, restructure the energy of the place. You are the one who notices the altered breathing of someone on the other side of the room, the asymmetry in the way people treat each other. It is a gift, but it is also a punishment, because you cannot simply not see. Voluntary blindness is a luxury that the universe did not give you. Moving on to August 26th, 27th, and 28th, we enter the territory of the observers of the abyss. The spiritual mission of those born on these days is relentless discernment. You came to Earth to separate the wheat from the chaff, illusion from reality. You have an internal radar for lies and hidden intentions. The problem is that by seeing the naked truth all the time, you end up isolating yourselves. It's difficult to trust when you can see the gears behind the smiles. And then we arrive at August 29th, 30th, and 31st. Here the mission takes on a weight of anticipation. You are the tamers of future chaos. Your mind projects all possible disaster scenarios, not because you are pessimistic, but because your soul has taken on the responsibility of preventing others from falling into the abyss. You fix the bridge before anyone realizes the wood was rotten. No one thanks you, because the disaster never happened, and you keep this merit in absolute silence, this constant state of alert, this need to hold the world together at the edges so that it doesn't fall apart, creates a silent fracture within you. A weariness that isn't physical but structural. It's the exhaustion of someone supporting a roof that others swear is floating on its own. You bleed vital energy, trying to adjust gears that the world has stubbornly broken. And at the end of the day, you lay your head on the pillow and feel that your own spirit is in pieces, operating on reserve, with no one to notice its deep cracks. It was while searching for answers to this that I found this digital book, the guide, the divine wisdom that guides your zodiac sign to a purposeful life, is not a compendium of basic astrology. It's a mental attitude, a rescue tool created to develop precisely that ability to go deep, but teaching you how not to drown in your own process of healing the world. It's about learning to stop bleeding your devotion onto ungrateful ground and redirecting your light to your own foundation. You are listening to me now and feeling that exact tightness in your chest, that magnetic urgency to fix your own inner house, because deep down, you know you can no longer live on the edge of your own endurance, saving everyone while leaving yourself for last. The link is in the first pinned comment, but be aware, this content may be taken down. Click now, download your copy. Answer me in the comments. When was the last time you felt completely exhausted from trying to fix a situation or save someone who was in no way your responsibility? And the wheel keeps turning. We enter September. The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of September reveal the architects of sanctuaries. If you were born on these days, your spiritual mission on earth is to create safe spaces, not just physical ones, but emotional ones. People seek you out when their world collapses because you have an inner structure that seems unshakable. But what no one sees is the price you pay to keep those walls standing. On the 4th, 5th, and 6th of September, the frequency shifts to that of empaths disguised as logic. You feel the world's pain so excruciatingly that you've had to develop a hyper-rational intellect just to survive. You process the suffering of others through analysis, solving practical problems, because if you stop to feel the raw emotional burden, you would be crushed by it. Your mission is to translate compassion into usefulness. When we arrive at September 7th, 8th, and 9th, we encounter the purifiers of truth. Their presence on Earth has an almost surgical purpose. You find the flaw in the system, the error in the human code, so that healing can enter. You point out what is wrong, not out of malice, not out of empty criticism, but because your soul cannot bear to see wasted potential. But there is a deep pain here. By constantly focusing on what needs fixing, your own mind can turn against you. The level of internal demand becomes deafening. Perfectionism ceases to be a pursuit of excellence and transforms into an invisible whip. The mind never shuts off. The inner judge never rests, and silence becomes the most unattainable luxury of your existence. When your mind becomes a relentless tribunal and the internal noise leaves you breathless, you need an anchor point. The digital book, The Divine Wisdom That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Purposeful Life, works exactly like that switch. It won't turn off your sharp intelligence, but it will give you the control to transform it from a weapon that attacks you into a shield of pure light that protects and uplifts you. The link is in the first pinned comment. Click now and begin your journey towards the clarity and genius you deserve. Moving through the heart of Virgo, we arrive on September 10th, 11th, and 12th. Those born on these days are the alchemists of everyday life. Your great spiritual mission is to prove that the divine does not dwell in distant temples, but in the now, in work well done, in invisible care, in routine. You transform mundane tasks into grounding rituals. On September 13th, 14th, and 15th, the guardians of lucidity reveal themselves. You were born with the mission of anchoring reality when everyone around is intoxicated by illusions. You are the ones who look at the house of cards and warn of where the wind will come from. There is an overwhelming loneliness in being the only sober person in a room full of people intoxicated by comfortable lies. And on September 16th, 17th, and 18th, this characteristic deepens to the bone. Here are the great sacrifices. The mission is service in its purest form. You give your own oxygen to ensure that those you love continue to breathe. But there comes a time when the reserve runs out. Resentment begins to whisper in the shadows. The body sickens, the mind freezes, because you realize the hardest truth of Virgo. You've spent your whole life saving people who never, not for a second, thought about how to save you. The absolute loneliness of someone who takes care of everyone else, but has no one to take care of themselves. This feeling of abandonment amidst the crowd doesn't have to be your end. It's a call to establish ironclad boundaries. The digital book, The Divine Wisdom That Guides Your Zodiac Sign to a Purposeful Life, enters your reality now to teach you the architecture of self-preservation. It shows you how to continue being that beacon of order and healing in the world without allowing them to steal your oil down to the last drop. You need to learn the sacred power of saying no. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey towards the clarity and genius you deserve. And so we approach the final portal, September 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd. You, born in the last days of the sun in Virgo, are the guardians of the threshold. Already moving towards the scales of Libra, your spiritual mission is synthesis. You came to Earth not only to organize and fix, but to refine reality until it reveals its hidden beauty. You understand that true perfection is not the absence of flaws, but the elegant acceptance of human imperfection. Your mission is to teach the world to love its own scars, organizing them as if they were works of art. The great truth about Virgo's spiritual mission on Earth is that you are the fertile ground that sustains all other life. Without you, fire burns uncontrollably, water floods, air is lost in empty space. You are the ones who stay when the lights go out to sweep the floor and ensure that tomorrow the theater can open again. Your perfectionism has never been about being annoying or controlling. It has always been about love. A love so immense, so terrifying, and so profound for the workings of life that you prefer to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders rather than watch the world collapse on those you love. The day of your birth was not a coincidence in the cosmic calendar. It was a call to supreme service, and your greatest spiritual mission, the one that crowns all others, is to finally understand that you too are part of this world. And therefore, you too deserve to be cared for, nurtured, respected, and above all, loved for exactly who you are, in all your magnificent and sacred humanity. But accepting this truth is only the beginning of the real inner cataclysm, when you, Virgo, finally understand that the world won't crumble if you let go of the reins for a moment. A terrifying silence settles in. It's the silence of your own breath. Something you rarely hear because you've always been too busy listening to other people's heartbeats, anticipating everyone's needs before they even know they need anything. This is the moment when real healing begins, and it's not pretty, it's not perfectly symmetrical as you like. Healing is messy, it's raw, it's painful. It's you, at 3 a.m, staring at your bedroom ceiling and feeling the emptiness in your chest that was once filled with the adrenaline of being useful, with the rush to solve a chaos that wasn't even yours. You ask yourself, if I'm not the one who solves and fixes everyone's life, who am I? If I'm not someone's salvation, do I still have value? This identity crisis is living proof that your soul is undergoing an inescapable metamorphosis. Your ruling planet, Mercury, is often remembered in superficial knowledge as merely the messenger, the god of rapid communication, technology, and intellect. But the ancients knew a much deeper and darker secret. Mercury was also the psychopomp, the only deity capable of descending to the depths of the underworld, navigating the darkness and returning to the sacred light completely intact. You, with the sun in Virgo, inherit this mystical ability to traverse the darkness. You are the true alchemist of the zodiac. You spend your entire life descending into the personal hells of others, gathering the shards of their shattered minds and using your cold, rational light to piece them back together until they can walk on their own and breathe again. What you never realized is that this supreme alchemical ability was given to you so that at some karmic point you could descend into your own underworld, so that you could face your own shadows, your devastating insecurities, that relentless voice in your head that whispers incessantly that you never do enough, that you are not enough, and use all your immense power of miraculous healing on yourself. You need to understand, once and for all, that your worth is not and never has been measured by your usefulness to others. Society and childhood wounds have conditioned you to believe that love is a financial transaction. You offer excellence, sacrifice, and organization, and in return, you receive approval. But understand this: approval is not love. Approval is conditional. It dries up immediately when you dare to make a mistake or when you set a limit. True love, the kind your soul cries out for and yearns for, while you meticulously organize your drawer so you don't have to deal with the hole in your chest, is unconditional. It embraces your flaws with a smile. It finds humor in your tidiness and your fixation on details, but it also welcomes and embraces you tightly when you leave the dishes in the sink and plans half-finished because you are simply exhausted from existing. The universe is inviting you, or rather demanding, that you stop attracting people with broken wings. You know exactly what I'm talking about and feel it in your bones. You have a dangerous magnetic pull towards other people's chaos. Lost, disorganized and wounded people feel your aura of order and security from miles away and desperately run to take shelter under your energetic roof. And you, in your purest instinct of preservation and devotional service, open the door every time. You feed them, instruct them, mend the broken bones of their souls, teach them how to live, and when they are ready, whole and strong, they fly away, and you stay. Alone, once again, just sweeping up the fallen feathers and preparing for the next wounded bird. This ends now. Your new spiritual and karmic phase demands that you seek true partnership, not rehabilitation projects. You need to surround yourself with people who don't see you as an emotional gas station where they come, refuel their lives, and leave without looking back. You deserve, and it's your birthright, to be with those who sit beside you on the dusty sidewalk of life. Take the broom from your wounded hands and say, "You don't need to do anything today. Let me take care of us. Let me take control now." Imagine the relief that would be. Imagine the feeling of your spine relaxing and settling after decades of holding the weight of the world's roof alone. It's terrifying, yes, to relinquish control. For a Virgo, losing control feels like the immediate prelude to death. Because rigid control was your childhood survival mechanism. It was how you ensured that no one would get hurt and that everything would be all right in your home. But you've grown up, and this defense mechanism has become a frigid prison with golden bars that you yourself pollute until they shine. Let's be very honest about your physical body, because Virgo, being an earth sign, doesn't live in theory. Virgo feels absolutely everything in their flesh, bone, and blood. Your sign directly governs the nervous and digestive systems. This is not a cosmic coincidence, it's spiritual anatomy. You literally try to digest and process the emotions of the entire world. When things go wrong out there, when injustices happen, when someone you love hides suffering, your stomach churns, your intestines become congested or deregulated, your digestion becomes an invisible battlefield. Your nervous system is trapped in a constant state of hypervigilance, scanning the environment 24 hours a day for the next mistake to correct, the next imminent disaster to avert. This chronic tension shortens your breath, stiffens your back muscles, and locks your shoulders to such an extent that pain has become your normal state of being. Your biological body is screaming desperately for rest. But understand this, not the shallow rest of sleeping a few hours and waking up with your brain buzzing with a to-do list. The universe demands deep rest, the rest of the soul. That rare moment when you lie down on the bare earth, feel the wet grass on your skin, and simply exist. Without optimizing anything, without being productive, without planning tomorrow. Unproductivity is a sacred medicine that you need to learn to swallow bitterly day after day until you begin to enjoy the liberating taste it brings. For this healing transition to crystallize in the material world, you need to make peace with the word that most terrifies your servant's heart. No. No is not an insult. It is a complete, mature, and sovereign phrase. It is the shield of light that protects your vital energy, the boundary that separates your inner sanctuary from external noise. Every time you say a resentful yes, an exhausted yes, just to avoid the social discomfort of others' disapproval or to avoid dealing with the other person's poor handling of their own responsibility, You are saying a violent, cruel, and destructive no to yourself. You are betraying and stabbing your own essence. The elevated spirituality of Virgo is not, never has been, and never will be achieved through martyrdom. This is a terrible religious and social misinterpretation that has persisted for centuries. The true spiritual and magical mastery of your sign is relentless discernment. It is knowing how to meticulously separate the wheat from the chaff, the gold from the straw. It's about looking at a cry for help with the eyes of a lynx and being able to perfectly distinguish between those who truly need your compassionate guidance and those who are merely draining your blood and shamelessly taking advantage of your chronic inability to set boundaries. When you begin to exercise this surgical discernment, a silent and powerful magic takes over your reality. Superficial friendships, those vampiric connections that only sought you out to ask for bureaucratic favors, free advice, or to unload their complaints, begin to wither and disappear like dry leaves in autumn. Let them go without guilt and without looking back. They are simply opening fertile ground for relationships of equivalent exchange, friendships where the dish you serve returns full of nourishment and support. And in the professional field, in the professional field, you are an unprecedented force of nature in the history of the zodiac. Nobody, absolutely nobody, has your unbreakable ethics, your watchmaker-like precision, your genius-like ability to see the smallest flawed cog hidden within the great corporate clock. But you often, and almost always, hide in the dark back rooms, working 3 times as hard and earning half as much, letting others with inflated egos take all the credit, the money, and the applause for your analytical brilliance, simply because you dislike the vulgar spotlight and don't do things out of ego. However, the stars are changing your course. The universe is loudly demanding that you assume your place of absolute authority, not out of vanity, but out of a divine sense of justice. Your exceptional competence can no longer be used as a free stepping stone for the success and brilliance of mediocre and lazy people. You need to take a relentless stance, look people in the eye, and demand your exact financial value without discounts, without apologizing for your talent. Your monumental contribution comes at a very high price, and your knowledge, accumulated through sleepless nights of study, obsessive research, and constant self-improvement, is an invaluable asset that the world needs to reward accordingly. And how does your relationship with the sacred, with the divine, stand? Virgo is not a sign that seeks a punitive God, sitting on a throne of distant clouds judging sinners. Its spiritual connection is infinitely deeper and more imminent.